And the verses that I wanted you to be aware of are in the Three Principles of the Path, and there are various translations of that. This is what I did a long time ago. And it is, lust for existence chains all embodied beings. Addiction to cyclic pleasures is only cured by transcendent renunciation. So first of all, seek transcendence. So that's sort of what the theme of the individual vehicle really is seeking some kind of transcendence of the ordinary addiction to this imprisonment in this sort of cyclic life. Then he says how to do that. He gives 4 methods. Liberty and opportunity are hard to get, and there is no time in life. Keep thinking on this, and you will turn off your interest in this life. Then contemplate the inexorability of evolutionary effects and the sufferings of life over and over again, and you will turn off interest in future lives. By constant meditation, your mind will not entertain a moment's wish even for the successes of this life, and you will aim for freedom day and night. Then you experience transcendent renunciation. So these are the 4. This is really good. First thing is leisure and opportunity, or liberty and opportunity, are really hard to find. That's the first thing you reflect on. And what that is, that's the beginning of the individual vehicle. And what that is very surprising, should be very surprising to you, because you might think of Buddhism, many of you, this being an introduction, you might think of Buddhism as some sort of depressing downer that sort of puts us down and says life sucks and we might as well get out of it. And, we're stupid and ignorant and we're like doing all bad things and we're suffering all the time. And that is sort of thing like that, of like being less egotistical. Or someone was freaking out in my earlier class today at Columbia about the idea of the Bodhisattva to save the world, for example, key of the Mahayana. And they said, but that's very egotistical to say I'm going to save the world. And I said, right, Bodhisattva is egotistical. Of course. Anybody who's really egotistical wants to save the world. If they understand that they're indelibly part of it, they want to save it. And the idea of making a determination, I'm going to really help out other beings, that requires a strong ego, and an enlightened person has a strong ego. He was so shocked, because you might have that idea about Buddhism, is what I'm saying. But no, this individual vehicle Buddhism begins with leisure, liberty, and opportunity are hard to find. Now, what is your liberty and what is your opportunity that all of you have? This is called the precious human embodiment, a human life endowed with liberty and opportunity. You are free from hell, from being an animal with no language and no self-reflection, or very little self-reflection, hunted by other animals all the time to the death, forced to hunt others. You're free from that. You're free from being something called a preta, which they say hungry ghost, and it is hungry, but it's not a ghost. It's a hungry being called a preta. It's like a hell, practically. You're free from being an idiot. None of you are idiots. You wouldn't be here. Although, I am, but I'm here, but you're not. And, I'm told that occasionally by my better half, and she's always right. And so, none of you are idiots. None of you are complete, like basket cases, blind, deaf, dumb, whatever, None of you are trapped in heaven. You're not trapped in heaven. You say, hey, that's a trap I could use. No. It was a trap. Heaven is a trap, because when you go to heaven, you're just like saying, I'm in heaven, I'm in heaven. And then you waste your whole billion years in heaven, and it's over, and then you're in misery again. So you have a relative pleasure in heaven, but still it's a trap, because you don't have any motive to do anything about anything and to try to understand anything, usually. Occasionally, some bodhisattvas invade heaven and start a dharma center in this and that heaven. Or they go up and they play music to the gods, and they're so clever in their music. When they play on the violin, they make a sound, and then from the sound, the gods hear impermanence, impurity, suffering, selflessness. The teachings emerge from the music, and then the gods get serious. So, but otherwise, you're entrapped there. And you're not entrapped in the Titan world, and there's a few other things. And you're not entrapped in a world in a human society where you're a slave, and you have no opportunity and no thought of liberation, and you think that you're just part of the tribe and you have to do what they tell you and whatever like that. These are all These are all things you are free from because you are New Yorkers or close by enough to be here. You are self-reflective. You have free time. You have leisure. You don't have much free time and you waste most of it, but you have some. And you are educated and you have imagination, and although you're probably not as miserable as me, but you're fairly miserable most of the time, you can imagine from brief moments of relief that you've had that it might be possible to attain true happiness. You can imagine that. You're a little bit imprisoned in a culture filled with unrealistic worldviews, such as that you only are a brain, you're a brain running around in a skeleton, and you're really nothing, essentially, spiritually, mentally nothing. That's being trapped in an unrealistic worldview. Or another unrealistic one, that you're sort of some creature of some being that is outside the universe and is going to pull you over into their personal country club as long as you keep repeating the right membership, pay the membership dues. Those are two kinds of non-causal, unrealistic views, but otherwise you have all those liberties. So that's now, how many human beings have those liberties? How many human beings are free of these kind of things for how much of their life? Very little. It's very, very hard to find. They say that then the opportunities are you're in a place where there is the teaching of liberation. There is the psychology of the enlightened beings. I'm not saying religion. I'm saying psychology of the enlightened being. Study of the nature of reality of enlightened being. Teaching of that nature of reality. Encouragement by the enlightened beings that you can understand that, and that when you do, you will be truly free of suffering. These are all opportunities that you have. Even though, we're here in this busy city that is like rushing around, So that's the first thing. In other words, the first thing is meditating on what a fantastic situation you are in relative to all the possible forms of life you could be in now.